Today you will get to know those who claim that it is possible to live a new life after death and those who say, "I am born again." Those who believe that the soul exists again in a new body call this reincarnation or transmigration of souls. Today, more than 1 billion people on Earth believe that their souls will exist in other bodies. In other words, they believe that at the moment of death, only the bodily functions end and the soul comes back to the world in another body, that is, in the body of a small child, and continues to live. Reincarnation is not only believed in Eastern cultures, but also in the West. According to historical sources, reincarnation was first mentioned in Western history by some ancient Greek scholars and philosophers such as Pythagoras and Plato. Reincarnation was accepted in many civilizations such as ancient Egypt, Celtic, Mayan and Inca, where millions of people continued to believe that the soul lives in a new body after death. In other words, according to this belief, our soul in our body was in another body before us. What do you think of this idea? For the sake of clarity, let us back this up with a shocking fact. Dilo Bayaz was born in 1970 in Samandog, Hati. Dilo Bayaz was born with a scar on her head. Her mother realized that little Dilo had memories of her past life when she talked to herself in bed. At first, her mother could not believe what was happening. Dilo began to tell her that in her previous life she had been a woman in a nearby village who had died after falling into a well while hanging out laundry. One day her mother felt the need to explain Dilo's story to her relatives. One day, a distant relative of the Bayaz family confirmed Dilo's story. The death of a woman named Zahidi Koz in that village was very similar to Dilo's story. Zahidi Koz had fallen and hit her head on the ground and died in hospital. Dilo, who also described Zahidi's cemetery even though she had never seen it, was one of the first reincarnation cases to remember what happened after she died in a previous life. The most prominent believers in reincarnation in human history have been shamans, Hindus, Nasaris, Yazidis, African tribes and Indians. The belief in reincarnation is slightly different among the peoples of North Asia. Here they believe that man has more than one soul, 3 or 7. The Yakut Turks, the Chukchi and the Yukajirs believe that man has 3 souls. Yes, you heard that right. There are many people in these regions who believe that man has 3 lives. According to the Yakut Turks, one soul of a deceased person remains in the grave, one descends to the realm of spirits and the third ascends to heaven. The soul of the deceased meets the crossing guard, who waits for the entrance to the other world, and then crosses by boat to the opposite shore. In the realm of shadows, the dead live the same life as on earth. After some time, the dead can be reborn on earth. The Uyghurs call this phenomenon of continuous rebirth sansar. Reincarnation also has an interesting place in Jewish belief. While the doctrine of the transmigration of souls is not found in traditional Judaism with its apocalyptic beliefs, there are some elements of the concept of transmigration of souls in popular Jewish beliefs. Many Jews today believe that Adam was Noah, then Abraham, then Moses. This is a belief in reincarnation. There is no place for reincarnation in the Islamic faith. As in other monotheistic religions that accept the concept of resurrection, Islam generally does not have a concept of the transmigration of souls. According to the basic principles of Spiritism, the human being consists of 3 parts: the soul, the perisprit and the physical body. The perisprit is the link between the soul and the physical body and has a semi-material structure. In this belief, When the soul leaves the body at death, it is reborn in the spirit world. The good and bad deeds it has done while in this world are recorded in its memory. After a while it is reborn in the world. The purpose of being reborn again and again in the world, where he will be tested, is to evolve. But even today there is a widespread belief. Some people believe that in reincarnation a soul that leaves a human body can continue to exist in an animal body, but the human soul is never reborn in an animal body. This is because there is no regression in reincarnation. We introduce you to a scientist who has devoted 40 years of his life to reincarnation research. Professor Stevenson spent 40 years of his life studying children who seemed to remember their past lives. He was treated as a madman, but he persevered. He conducted reincarnation research on nearly 1,000 children. In each case, Stevenson methodically documented the children's accounts and found that the events described by the children matched the facts of the deceased. He also verified with medical records, such as autopsy photographs, that the scars that caused death and injury in the deceased were birthmarks and birth defects in the children who spoke in the reincarnation research. In the investigation, a boy in Beirut described how he was a 25-year-old car mechanic who was killed when he was hit by a car that had exceeded the speed limit on a beach road. According to witnesses, the boy even gave the name of the driver, the exact location of the accident and the names of the mechanic's sisters, parents, cousins and friends with whom he had gone hunting. The incident was confirmed by the judicial authorities. Unbelievable, but true. The child was born a few years after the death of the mechanic in question, and the child's family had no visible contact with the dead man. Stevenson also conducted research on Turkish children who remembered their past lives. One of these children was a Turkish man, Adnan Kelasi. Adnan Kelasi, who lived in Adana, claimed that in a previous life he had been a private in the Korean War, a Turkish soldier who had died in battle. Everyone who heard this claim began to doubt Adnan Kelasi's sanity. Despite all the accusations, Kelasi was able to describe the death of the Korean War soldier in great detail. However, the identity of the soldier was never fully established. Was Adnan Kelasi really carrying the soul of the soldier who fought in the Korean War? One of the most common cases in Antakya was that of Semel Farisai. Born in Antakya in 1935, Farisai saw his father, a distant relative, Semel Hayek, reborn as his own son the night before he was born. Unbelievable, but true. Jamil Kayik was a local hero who committed suicide by putting his gun to his chin after his gang was surrounded by French troops. Baby Jamil also had a 2-centimeter scar under his chin, and when he was 2 years old he began to tell people details of Jamil Kayik's life. Those who heard his stories treated him as a madman. In later years, Stevenson's research revealed that Semel also had a scar on the top of his head. The scars and various phobias and pains were seen as signs of reincarnation. The number of people who did not believe in Semel Farisai began to decrease. According to some experts, a person suffering from neck pain could have been hanged in a previous life, or a person who was afraid of heights could have been murdered by being thrown from a castle wall. In other words, it is suggested that these unexplained fears and phobias could have come from previous lives. It's scary, but according to many scientists, it's a fact. Do you believe in reincarnation, or do you know someone who has experienced something similar? Please share your experiences with us in the comments section. If you liked our video, you can subscribe to our channel and support our channel by sharing the video with your close circle.